John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and we're going to be using the all-new Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer. This juicer is unlike any other juicer on the market at present time because it's a slow vertical juicer that you may be familiar with, but it has a whole new twist. The twist is the feed chute. The feed chute is 3 inches in diameter. So what does that mean? That means you can take things like whole pears, drop them right in the machine to get them juiced up. So what does this mean? This means you'll do less cutting, have less preparation time, and lose less of the valuable juices on your cutting board. Think about it, when you're cutting a tomato, to feed in your old school juicer, you're losing a lot of juice on the cutting board. With this juicer, you just put the whole thing in and it's going to get juiced right up. So this machine is being made by Kuvings, and they've been making small appliances for decades at this point, and this is their latest model of the vertical single auger style machine. They took the standard size vertical auger machine, which they have been making for many years now, and they've improved it to make the wide feed chute machine. The really unique thing about this machine is that they have a whole newly designed auger that allows the machine to have the wide feed chute. You can't just simply take the current design vertical auger and stick a feed chute with a large feed chute on there and expect it to work. So they have a patent on this specific design. I've been using it the last 2 days, and so far it's working really, really well for me. Now, one of the features I like about this wide feed chute model is that it runs at a low 80 RPMs. The problem is that most other 3-inch wide feed chute juicers on the market, they are all high-speed machines. They sound like an airplane taking off in your kitchen. Most of them run at 10,000 plus RPMs, or revolutions per minute. That's how fast it spins. And in general, the higher the RPMs, the more oxidation happens to the produce you're juicing, which means you're going to have a lower nutrition. In the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer, it runs at a low 80 RPM, so you're going to maximize nutrition, and plus with the wide feed chute, you're going to now have the convenience of not having to cut the produce. In addition, the slow juicers are much better in juicing, especially the leafy greens. The high-speed juicers are not efficient at juicing the leafy greens, and the leafy greens are the one thing that I want you guys to juice each and every day. It's really sad that most Americans and people around the world actually do not eat enough leafy greens. Leafy greens are the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. What does this mean? They have the most vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and phytonutrients with the least amount of calories. This is exactly opposite of junk food, fast food, and processed foods and animal products that have high calories with low nutrients. I want you guys to eat fresh fruits and vegetables, which are the best things on earth, and the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer will allow you to do just that. What I'm going to do in this episode is make a really quick and easy and delicious vegetable juice, and we're only going to use 2 ingredients. I want you guys to keep it whole, I want your diets to be whole, and I want you guys to use the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer to make it. And we're going to use 2 ingredients. What they are red cabbage. I love using red cabbage instead of the standard green cabbage because it's red. I encourage you guys always to eat your foods of color. Every different color of the rainbow is different nutrition in there. And you don't need to know the names, like red is lycopene, and there's zeaxanthin and lutein in leafy greens, and chlorophyll is another really good nutrient. But all the different colors have different nutrients, and you want to always rotate and vary the different colors of what you're eating. That's why I'm using the cabbage. Now, cabbage, as you guys know, could be fermented into sauerkraut and has a nice strong kind of bite, or if you've eaten cold slaw before, the cabbage has a nice cabbage flavor. And many people may not like this flavor. So what we're going to do today is we're going to also juice some pears. And we have a multitude of different varieties of pears as well. When people think apples, they think of like a red apple, but there's different colors of apples. And most of them are actually white on the inside. Some apples are actually pink on the inside or red on the inside. I always encourage you, once again, you guys to rotate your diet and eat different kinds of foods, ones that you've never tried before, because not only is the nutrition going to be different among the different varieties, but so is the taste. So we're going to juice some standard green pears, some red pears, some Bosc pears, all different kind of colors. And the cool thing is, with the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer, we're not going to have to cut up the pears. No, unless we had small little cabbages, we wouldn't have to cut them, but because these are larger, we're going to have to cut them up to fit into the 3-inch wide feed chute. Now, I've juiced cabbage before in smaller vertical auger style juicers with a smaller feed chute, and even the horizontal auger juicers with a 1.5-inch diameter, that's a circle, feed chute. So it's like this size versus like the nice large size here. So we're going to be able to cut it in much larger pieces to fit through the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer. So before we get started, I want to also talk to you guys about produce selection. Produce selection is paramount to get optimal results in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer or any juicer you're using. You know, obviously you want to get the ripest, fresh picked produce as possible. So if you're growing cabbage, go out to the field and harvest some cabbage, bring it in and juice it. If you're shopping in a grocery store or farmer's market, you want to get a nice, hard, firm head. You know, nice and hard and firm. If it's getting soft and old and the leaves are wilting, it's not going to juice as well. So we want nice, hard, firm produce. Now, picking nice, hard, firm produce is especially important when juicing fruits, such as pears or apples. If you get a pear, you know, that's soft and you can stick your finger in it and it'll like mush in, right? That's a ripe pear. That's good news. Those are the best pears for you to eat out of hand or to put in a blender and make a smoothie out of. But those are not good fruits to put in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer. You want to get nice, hard, and firm fruits. So these are the ones actually that you wouldn't eat, because if you ate it, it wouldn't be that sweet. But what the juicer is going to do, it's going to extract the liquid nutrition out of the pears and give you some nice sweet water or some fruit juice. And the fruit juice is far better than any soda or soda pop or canned and bottled juices where they may be adding extra sugars or other colors. So I always encourage you guys to do it yourself at home. So by combining the sweetness of the pear with the kind of harshness of the cabbage, we're going to get a delicious juice, and it's also going to be super beautiful because of the color. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get juicing. First, we're going to turn this machine on. Check it out. This thing runs at 80 RPMs because it runs so slow, has a high power motor with high torque. It's actually more powerful than other vertical juicers on the market. Due to the 3-inch wide feed chute, it just needs to have more power to crush up big, large pears and leafy greens, cabbage, and other things to make the delicious juice. Another feature it has that I like a lot is the little stopper cap here. This allows you to mix the juices inside the machine and also will prevent drips on your counter when you're done juicing. So I always like to leave this open unless I want to mix something inside. So when juicing in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer, you always want to rotate the items you're putting in the machine. Always I recommend first putting in the softest item first, followed by the more firm items. So in this case, the pears are much softer than the cabbage, so we're going to put a pear, piece of cabbage, a pear, piece of cabbage, all right? So let's just start that off by putting in one solid pear in the machine, and you'll notice it's actually sitting in the machine. Why it's not dropping all the way in is because actually there's a little safety blade that kind of slices up the pear a little bit, but also disallows you from putting a hand or something in the machine. I want to warn you, just because the feed chute's wide and you get your fingers in there, don't do it. The only thing you should ever stick in the machine is the pusher. Don't stick a knife, a spatula, or anything. Even if you see something, oh, I can get a knife and push it in there. Don't do it, because you're going to damage whatever you're putting in there, and also damage the machine, which will not be covered under warranty. Talking about warranties, this machine actually has a nice 5 plus 5 year warranty, so that's a 10 full year warranty. I want to always encourage you guys to buy a machine with a nice long warranty. That's going to be your insurance that you're going to be able to juice every day and gain the health benefits from it. So because this pear is a bit stuck, we're just going to go ahead and use the pusher. There's a little white dot on the pusher. We're going to line it up with the white dot here and simply push it really gently, and it just goes right in the machine. As you guys can see, it's actually just getting chopped up. One piece of pear, the auger is working and taking a bite out of the pear, one bite at a time, and juicing it up. It's not taking the whole pear and crushing it into nothing. It's doing a little bit at a time, and in this way, it's going to work much more effectively. So for this reason, I only encourage you guys to use the pusher to get the produce in the machine, but not shove it in there, because this, while this does have a wide feed chute, it's still a slow juicer, and we want it to operate at a nice slow speed to get the maximum amount of nutrition and the maximum amount of juice with the least amount of pulp in the juice. Next, we're just going to go ahead and take this cabbage and take a knife and slice it into a few pieces. The cool things is I like inside the cabbage, it looks like a little maze in there. And then we're just going to go ahead and slice this piece in half. Now this piece, or like maybe a small piece of the cabbage, we're just going to be able to drop that in the machine. Use our little pusher to kind of get it past the safety. Take that cabbage, and as you guys can hear it, it's literally crushing up and getting all the juice out of the red cabbage here. And you can see some of the delicious, beautiful purple juice coming right out. Next, let's go ahead and take another whole pear. I really like the ease of use on the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer. And the reason for that is prep time. Many juicers, including other vertical auger juicers, have smaller feed chutes. And let me tell you something, the smaller the feed chute size, that means the more cutting you guys are going to have to do. So what does this mean? This equates to time savings. Everybody always says time is money, right? And by using the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer, you could save like 50% to like 65% and save that amount of time, because you're not going to have to cut the produce as much to feed it in. So I definitely like saving the time. So next, another piece of cabbage, once again, right in the machine. We're going to use our pusher to push it down in there. One of the things I really enjoy doing is looking down the spout of the machine to see all the produce just getting crushed up and juiced. It just totally looks really cool. That's another cool feature about the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer. It has a smoke colored top, so actually you can kind of look in there, see what's going on. This is a feature that no other slow juicer vertical style machine has at this time that I'm aware of. Next, let's go ahead and once again we're alternating our produce. We're putting in another pear, and we're just going to go ahead and push that in nice and gently. One of the cool things about the juicer here is that we don't have to sit there and push really hard to feed things in the machine. Once you kind of get it past the little safety block there, it'll kind of go in the machine, and the machine will crush it all up and extract the delicious juice out of it. As you guys can see, we're having a nice mixture of a nice bright purple juice, and the pulp is coming out over on this side. One of the cool things I like to do with the pulp actually is eat it. Now in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer, that pulp is actually kind of dry actually, so it's not too tasty. It does actually a quite good job at extracting all the nutrients and juice out of the pulp. So you could use this pulp in recipes. I mean, if you're creative, you could use this pulp actually to make a coleslaw out of, you know. I'm probably just going to go ahead and compost the pulp. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut some more cabbage up. Now, the hardest part of the cabbage juice right here is right like the little stem end. That's the hardest part of the cabbage. And you know, the juicer may have a challenge with that, so you may have to use the pusher a little bit more. I do encourage you guys to feed the stem end in first so that the auger can work on that. Once again, once you get it started, it starts taking bites off the pieces and starts juicing it. Looks like it handled the stem with no problem whatsoever. Next, let's go ahead and take another pear. Why don't we go ahead and try a red pear. Once again, you can take the whole red pear, drop it right in the machine because the feed chute is that big. Also really important when you're selecting your produce to juice, you know, if you're juicing in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer, you want to pick produce that's, 3 inches in diameter or less. If it's 3 inches or wider, you're still going to have to cut it. So when I was picking out these pears of juice, I was picking pears that I knew were going to fit in here. One of the cool things you might want to do is make a little juicing template. So take a piece of paper or cardboard and draw a circle in it, the same size as the feed chute opening. Take it to the store when you're buying your fruit. You can take the little template and drop the apple. Okay, this one will go in my juicer. People might look at you funny like, hey, what's this guy doing? One of the things I want you guys to be aware of is you want to slow down when juicing. You know, the juicer's still working right now, so it would not be a good idea to just start shoving stuff in there if it's not done at juicing what it's currently working on. It's like if you were trying to chew some food, your mouth is already full and you're chewing something and you haven't swallowed yet, and then you're trying to put more stuff in your mouth. Don't overload your mouth, don't overload the juicer. You want to wait until the pulp stops flowing, and then you're ready to put in the next round of stuff. So I can look down in the feed chute, make sure most of the produce that is in there is dislodged by using the pusher, which it is, and now we're ready to add the next item. So we're going to go ahead and add some more cabbage there. Let that cabbage get worked up and broken up by the machine, and then we're going to go ahead and put in our next pear. Let's see how high I can get this. Missed. Right in, alright, cool. Alright, so we're just about done juicing the cabbage pear juice in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer. When you're finishing up juicing, I always encourage you guys to juice the hardest produce item last. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in the last pear we're going to juice. Once again, kind of get it right in the machine, push it past that safety blade, let the machine kind of work and grind it up. Once we got all that pear through, we're going to go ahead and put our last piece of cabbage right in the machine. Now, I always recommend the hardest piece of produce last, because the hard produce is what the vertical style auger machines need to, you know, basically push through that soft stuff so that you can get all the juice out of your machine. So it's juicing that last bit of cabbage quite well. As you guys can see, the juice is all coming out there. Alright, looks like we're all done. We're going to go ahead and turn that machine off. Before you remove the juice pitcher, we're going to go ahead and close this stopper there. And I want to take a look at the pulp for a second. You know, the pulp on this juicer, I mean, I could squeeze this and I'm literally squeezing out pulp. You could see that? But like no juice is coming out of this. This is simply amazing. This machine, one of the most efficient units I've tested to date for the vertical single auger style machines. Next, let's go ahead and try some of this juice and show you guys what it looks like. Now, one of the things I want you guys to be aware of is that all vertical auger machines do produce some level of pulp, actually much more pulp than the centrifugal ejection style machines. So if this bothers you, you'll want to get a little strainer to strain out the juice before serving. The extra pulp in the juice is not really an issue, but some people just don't like the taste of the extra fiber. I personally don't mind it sometimes. So we're going to go ahead and pour this guy out. Look at that. Nice, delicious, clean, purple juice. This is one juice I would approve of that you should drink instead of wine. And it's nice to serve it in a wine glass, you know, at an upscale dining event or whatever. And let me tell you guys, with all the pears in here, this stuff is going to taste delicious. I call that heaven in a glass. Super delicious cabbage pear juice made easily in the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Be sure to stay tuned and subscribe to my YouTube channel for future episodes using the Kuvings Whole Slow Juicer. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and today I'm going to share some of my favorite citrus and pomegranate juicers in the whole world, and I'm going to make a cool recipe for you that I came up with actually the other day.